Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We're back again today for another match preview. Today we're going to be talking West Bromwich Albion versus Peterborough United, which is a EFL Championship clash which kicks off at 3 o'clock on Saturday at the Hawthorns, back at home, where Albion are currently unbeaten this season. We'll be chatting through all the details of this clash, giving you stats and facts from both sides, also predicted 11 for both 11s for both sides. We'll also be just talking about the implications for the game, what will happen if both teams decide to win or decide to lose or draw, what happens. We'll also be giving our score predictions at the end of the video. But if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. Basically, we're heading for 1,000 subscribers. I've been saying it for probably about 2 months now. We've been within, a couple of hundred subscribers of it, but now we're 40 away. Can we do it? Make sure you click subscribe if you enjoy the video. If you're new around here, it would really mean a lot for me. And yeah, let's get us to that magic 1,000. And make sure you comment your score predictions down below. Let me know what you're thinking ahead of this big championship clash that is big for both sides for different reasons. But yeah, let's crack on straight in with this match preview and be sure to subscribe. So let's crack on. Let's chat West Bromwich Albion versus Peterborough United. Let's start with the opposition, of course, coming to the Hawthorns this Saturday. Peterborough, of course, a team that are struggling at the moment in the Championship, currently inside the relegation zone in 22nd in the Championship. Only 5 points above points deducted Derby County. Obviously, Darren Ferguson as manager, of course, if you recall back to the tie, which I think was back in August, the end of August. If you remember, Darren Ferguson wasn't too happy with Valérien Ismaël's celebrations after Albion's late goal in that particular tie. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out and how exactly if Darren Ferguson is to get his revenge on Valérien Ismaël. Obviously, I feel like that game was a bit of a sign of things to come, because we've seen that performance so many times throughout this season where we haven't played particularly well. The opposition have sat behind the ball and, Albion have failed to break them down. But in this occasion they did, and it was in the very last minute where Semi Ajayi scored. So, yeah, I feel like that was a little bit of a warning to come, and it was a pretty poor performance, but got out of jail in the end. And, at the moment, we're not getting out of jail with our results at the moment. Albion are failing to pick up the wins like we did against Peterborough in games such as those, in games that are almost copy and paste jobs of the Peterborough game, just without the goal at the end. So, yeah, Darren Ferguson as manager, promoted from League One last season as runners-up in 2020 to the 21 season. They're 3 points from safety at the moment, with Reading above them with 22 points. Their form so far this season looks like this. They've played 24 games. That is 2 less than Albion. Won 5, drawn 4, and lost 15 games so far. They've conceded 48 goals, which is the most out of that bottom 4, and also scored 21 goals, which is, apart from Barnsley, the least out of that bottom 4 as well. So Peterborough are struggling, it's fair to say, but we all know what struggling sides come to the Albion and do this season. They come and they get a result. So will be interesting to see how Albion get on against Peterborough, because obviously they are a good side for League One level, certainly. Are they going to be making that step up into the Championship? It's still doable to keep themselves there, and if they do, obviously, I'm sure that they are able to stay there for a few years if they can just do it this season. It's potential that they can do it. The gap between League One and the Championship is really short, despite the financial gap between the two divisions. There are lots of teams. You look at Hull. I think they're 7 points from safety now. The teams that are coming up are doing especially well. Blackpool as well, doing pretty well, really well at the start of the season. It's kind of tailed off a little bit now, but still doing a pretty decent job. So they've got Siriki Dembele, Peterborough, as their top scorer with 5 goals. Of course, a very good player, and a guy that Albion have looked at a couple of times as well, along with Johnson Clark-Harris, who Albion have also looked at a couple of times now. Second, I say Albion have looked at, he's always been linked with Albion. He's always been rumoured to be looked at by Albion. He's second in the scoring charts for Peterborough. He scored 4 goals so far this season. Not really been putting in the performances that Albion that Peterborough would have wanted to see. 31 last season though, so he's clearly been banging in the goals at League One level. I guess just like the Peterborough side, they just can't quite make that step up so far this season and have been struggling, but have done a reasonable job nonetheless. So yeah, let's let's crack on and talk a little bit about what we can kind of expect from this Peterborough side. They've got Callum Morton on loan from West Bromwich Albion. If you recall, obviously he was recalled by Albion in the January window, and he came back for a couple of weeks, I think. Previously of Fleetwood Town, it was on loan there this season, scored a few goals there, a few assists as well. Northampton Town as well, and Lincoln City of last season as well. The away form for Peterborough hasn't been great, to be honest. Obviously, they're heading to the Hawthorns in their 13th away trip of the season. They've played 12 games so far. They've got one win on the road, the worst away record in the league, I must say. One win on the road, and that was against Hull City a few months ago. So, yeah, no draws, but 11 losses away from home. So, pretty bad. 33 conceded away from home as well. Only 6 scored. And they haven't won away in 5 appearances away from home so far, Peterborough. So, yeah, it's fair to say they're struggling and they're not doing very well away from home, but their home form has been good. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, they're a little bit unfortunate not to pick up a point against Albion at London Road a few months ago, back in August. So yeah, I remember watching that game and I remember seeing how quite bad really Albion were in that particular game. But obviously it was that last minute winner that kind of got us out of jail a little bit, and that's happened not enough times, I don't think, this season. We've had so many bad performances, but not quite come out with the results of late, certainly. But I feel like Peterborough are going to provide a stern test. They're probably going to do a similar thing. They'll know what Albion are good at. They were the first team, I think, really to kind of slow us down in our pressing and play, and that was kind of a story that's led to this season so far. You know, they were the first time to really put the brakes on Albion's attacking play. So it'd be very interesting to see how Peterborough get on against Albion this weekend. Here's what I think they're going to go for as a sort of predicted lineup, of course, managed by Darren Ferguson. He recently received a new contract from what I was looking at earlier. So yeah, they clearly feel he's the man for them. I don't think his form this season managing Peterborough has been anything particularly to celebrate, but I suppose that they're kind of preparing for an eventuality that they could go down, and therefore Darren Ferguson might just be the man to take them back up. Here's what I think he's going to select as his lineup. I can't claim to be too clued up on Peterborough's lineup. I didn't look through all of their lineups this season. This is just kind of what they went for in their last game, and I assume they might go for something quite similar this weekend. So I've gone for Cornell in goal with a back four of Thompson, Knight, Edwards and Mumba, who I think made his debut for Peterborough on loan from Norwich at left back. I don't think he played too well in their last game against Coventry City, which they lost 4-1 at home. Then midfield three of Taylor, Norburn and Burrows. And then I think a really good player in there, sort of attacking midfield, is Grant, George Grant. I think he's a very good player and has done very well this season. I think he's got 2 goals, 2 assists, which it doesn't sound great, but I think he's done a solid job in the more attacking role for Peterborough. And then up front, I've gone for Johnson Clark-Harris and Siriki Dembele. Obviously, they got Samish Modix as well, who could potentially come in and do a job. Of course, we haven't seen the pre-match press conferences at the time of recording from each manager, so things could be very different by the time that we obviously get this video out. And so yeah, if there are any injuries, I do apologise. I haven't been able to check because obviously the managers haven't done their press conference just yet. But let's crack on and talk a little bit about West Bromwich Albion. That's what we can expect from Peterborough, but what can we expect from Albion this Saturday? 5th in the Championship. Valerian Ismail kind of coming under a little bit of pressure from Albion fans. I think it's a 70-30 split or 75-25 split at the moment for Albion fans between who thinks Ismail should stay and who thinks Ismail should go. Yeah, I'm in the business of thinking he deserves a little bit more time, but I'm not convinced that Albion are considering sacking him anytime soon, of course, because he's on a four-year deal, of course, from last summer. So, yeah, 7 points from the promotion spots, from the automatic promotion spots at the moment. It's too big of a gap for Albion. It is essential that they win this game today. Blackburn in 4th, obviously 49 points, level on points with Bournemouth in 2nd place. Fulham, obviously scoring so many goals, kind of running away with it. We can let them go, but we need to catch up with need to catch up with Bournemouth and Blackburn. Albion in 6th place. The implications of this game, obviously haven't won in five attempts so far over the past 5 games. Albion haven't, and if Huddersfield beat Reading and Albion fail to beat Peterborough today, they will drop out of the playoffs. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, if we do drop out, I do think Ismail comes under a little bit of pressure, and I do think that he starts to be scrutinised a little bit more heavily. If Albion finish outside the playoffs this season, I do have confidence that things can turn around with the signing of Daryl Dika. I think he adds a bit of a different dimension, but if things don't turn around, then I think there could be trouble really for Ismail, and I think there could be questions asked of his managerial style and how things are progressing. It's more the results that I can, I'm more than happy to watch football that isn't perhaps very good on the eye, but if it means that we don't get results, then I don't mind. I don't mind watching any type of football if it gets the results, but at the moment it's not. So yeah, Daryl DK likely to start in this game, hopefully to give Albion fans a little bit of a boost. Last time we saw him at the Hawthorns he was actually on the bench at Brighton, but kind of just watching next to the bench rather than sat on it ready as a substitute. He was obviously there at Cardiff when he came on the pitch and did a little unveiling and did a little walk around the pitch for us. Our home form is the third best despite being the only side in the division unbeaten. There have been too many draws at home. 12 games, 7 wins, 5 draws and 0 losses. There have been 18 goals scored and 6 goals conceded so far at the Hawthorns for Albion. It's been all right at home, the unbeaten record, but when you're not winning, the sort of games that you should be winning, that's when the questions start to arise. But too many draws so far at home, but obviously managed by Valérien Ismail. The predicted 11 goes like this for me. I think that David Button will start in goal with Cedric Kipre, Kyle Bartley and Matt Clark across the back line. Cedric Kipre returning from suspension and Kyle Bartley hopefully returning from that injury he picked up against Brighton in the FA Cup. Then a midfield four, or wing backs, I suppose we'll go for first. Darnell Furlong and Connor Townsend, with a midfield two, I think, of Taylor Gardner-Hickman. And I'm going to go for Jake Livermore. I think he's had a lot of stick over the past few weeks, and quite unjustly, I think. I thought he did a really good job I thought he was one of the better players over the past few games. So I would stick him in midfield alongside Taylor Gardner-Hickman. I think him and Malumbi didn't really work very well, Jake Livermore and Malumbi. And Malumbi did have a shocker against QPR. Let's face it, he was misplacing passes left, right and centre. So I do prefer Malumbi, but I think that form, it suggests that Livermore should start, and I think he should start alongside Taylor Gardner-Hickman. Left wing back, Connor Townsend, then Matt Phillips and Carlan Grant either side of Daryl DK up front, hoping to get his first goal for Albion and his first goal at the Hawthorns, of course, as well. So my prediction is 2-0 Albion, and I think Daryl DK will score one, and I think Matt Phillips will score one as well. I said that on the podcast. If you haven't listened to the podcast this week, make sure to go and do so. Will Burford was on it. He's a fantastic young YouTuber who's been doing a really good job covering the Albion and covering a lot of non-league stuff. So yeah, make sure you go and check out that episode if you haven't already. But that's all I've got time for on this match preview. Drop your score predictions down below. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. We're heading for 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you help us out and comment your score predictions down below. I'd love to hear them. That's bringing me to the end of this match preview. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.